The chickens have been escaping from their fence some and getting into the garden with semi-disastrous results. One possible cause for the chickens escaping is the electric fence not being hot enough. So today I'm checking over all my fences and I wanted to talk to you just a little bit about how to make electric fences work for the small homestead. I'm going to show you a few neat things we've done. So what I'm doing is just walking this whole fence line, and it's off now, and I'm checking for places where the electric wire is touching grounded objects like wooden posts, heavy grass, weeds, metal portions of the fence. Because when your fence is grounded out to the ground through objects like wood or metal, it lowers the voltage in your fence. Here's a stick I'll throw off of it. I'll shake that one off. Electric net fencing like these are from Premier One Supplies. I love the company. You should definitely check them out if you want these fences, and they don't pay me anything to say that. I just love their products and their customer service. Electric netting fences like these are awesome because they're movable. You can set them up, in 15 minutes. You can contain your animals effectively. One downside though is that they tend to ground out really easily, and you can't run as much netting fencing as far as linear feet. You can't fence as large an area as in a multi-strand fence where the bottom wire is several inches off the ground. So here's some old wire that I'm just getting back from this fence here, so that it's not in any contact, because that would seriously ground things out. Grounding out is such a big problem with these fences that Premier One says if you're not willing to either move the fence and mow when the grass gets about 6 inches under the fence, or spray herbicide under your fence, that you just shouldn't use this product. For people who are frequently moving their fences, moving their animals, that's not so much of a problem. If you're looking for a permanent solution that's very low maintenance, that you're not planning on moving anyway, it may not be the best option to use these netting fences. If you've ever thought of doing homesteading, or if you've thought of fencing animals with electric but been intimidated by the cost of a fence charger, think about this. You may only need one. If you buy the right charger, you may be able to charge multiple fences with one charger. And how would you do that? That's through using feed wires. I have this wire here, and it runs up, it charges the netting fences up here, and then it runs down the hill along this fence line and to the charger down here. Here my feed wire comes along the side of the barn on insulators, and around the corner. You can relatively simply and easily run wires anywhere and charge any fence on your property as long as you have enough joules of power in your charger. You have to look at the manufacturer's recommendations for how much fence you can charge. So if you keep your fence free from grass and grounding obstructions, and if you follow the manufacturer's recommendations, you can run wires across your property and you can fence different paddocks in different areas. Another neat thing we're doing using electricity is gates. I have a 4-strand electric gate here. It's relatively simple, and you can go through it just by grabbing these insulated handles and disconnecting them and then clipping them back on. We're down at the barn, and Dolly's hanging out in the coolness of the downstairs barn. Checking this section, I've relatively recently weed eated this. Not to say there's nothing touching the fence, but relatively little. Next, I'm just gonna check the charger. I'm gonna make sure the hot wire is screwed on tightly and that the grounding wire is screwed on tightly. I'm gonna check my connection to the fence itself with my hot wire, and I'm gonna check that the clamp is securely on my grounding rod down here in the grass, which it is. Your grounding system is just as important as any other aspect of fencing. You need about 3 feet of grounding rod per joule that your charger puts out. So I have a 0.5 joule charger, and I have a 1.5 foot grounding rod. That's the minimum that you need, and if the weather is dry or the ground is dry, you might consider getting a specialized charger for that, or using extra grounding rods. Let's turn this fence on and see what kind of output we have. 4,000 volts of output, which should be acceptable. I'm back up here at the chicken fence. This is the furthest area from the charger, so let's check it and see how much voltage we have here. It says I have 2500 volts right here at the chicken fence. I'm not terribly pleased with that. I have a theory though that the charger was run down because it was grounded out in a couple spots. So what I'm gonna do is let it charge through the afternoon. I'm gonna recheck this evening and we'll get the camera back out and show you if it's recovered some of its charge. It's evening now and the fence is actually testing a little bit better up here at the chickens. So I think my theory was correct. From a charger that can put out 8,000 volts with no fence connected to it, getting 4,000 volts at basically the farthest corner of our fence, that's pretty good. And just the difference between what the charger can put out and the voltage you get at the end of your fence is the drain from contact with the ground. So that's acceptable though for what we're doing.
Well, that was another great day on the homestead.
And I appreciate y'all watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.